Morning. So I've had a busy weekend. We've been working on the house. We've been doing the insulation that's going between the roof trusses that we've put on. That is an absolutely rubbish job. I hate it. So I've left the guys to it today. I'm going to show you guys where we're up to on the big site, and I'm running the workshop. Let's have a look. So we have missed the steelwork going up because we were on the groundworks job at Coates Heath. I'll run through where we're up to now because the guys were only in here for 2 days I think last week, and I'm pretty impressed with where they're up to. All the main steel is up, as you can see. All the posts, the rafters are in, roof's braced, purlins are on, all your cleader rail is on at the ends, which we'll come back to what that is and why. They've started putting a handful of side rails on. Canopies are on over the personnel doors. Door posts are in, just got to be plumbed up, I think. Like I said, they only had 2 days last week on this, in between another job, so we pulled them in just to see how they got on. They managed to get it up, lined, levelled, finished, and we've got Lee Woods and the guys in to net and rail it today and tomorrow. So hopefully Thursday, I think the plan is, the guys are back and they're going to start banging that roof on. So on top of them little bits, we've also got a section of the mez floors have gone in either end. Now we've left the side sections out basically so we can get the machinery in to fit the concrete sections onto that, and then we can build this side and the other side of the mezzanine out once we've got the machinery out. But it'll give you an idea of the depth in from the end of the building that the mez floor is going to be. So we'll have a look. So that's the section of the mez that's in. So basically the arrangement in here, we've got the roller shutter door there, or the insulated up and over door. We've got the personnel door, and then there'll be a corridor and stair arrangement that will come up onto a landing here before it goes onto the mez. The mez looks crooked at the minute, which it is because that is just put up generally loose. The reason it's loose is we need the play basically to get them last 2 beams in. So we just put it in for now. Like I say, we do some of the bits that we're doing, we drop one of them beams in, line and level it all up, and then we can fit the last of the concrete too. So that's a K-brace. Obviously it's got a floor beam in there for the side of the mez, so again them concrete sections will go through to that beam on the side, and also this side is the one that's got the windows on this side of the building, so that will also support all the cold rolled elements that create the window apertures. But the K-brace ultimately comes down, and what we've done is we've done a break in it there where that centre floor joist is, so that we can fit the flooring in. So that's why the bottom brace comes up to the underside and the top brace is slightly higher. But behind you is, again, it's a K-brace. We need 2 in the side of the building because of the length of it. So as long as it is in somewhere, which obviously we've got mezzanine, we've got a lot of complicated stuff on this side with all the doors. So what we've done is we've put the 2 in the middle, and effectively they're K-brace back to each other. So from the outside it looks like a Union Jack flag. So for those of you that don't know the difference between hot and cold rolled steel, this is hot rolled steel. It's the big hefty stuff that we work with all the time. Cold rolled is them Z purlins and the galvanised E-beams on the top. So it's a cold rolled, so it's a flat piece of steel that goes through a series of rollers, which we'll try and get a trip out to our supplier at some point so you can see how the cold rolled is formed. But it runs through a series of rollers to take its shape, and that is the cold rolled element. So there's no heat in manufacturing or making that product like there is with this. That comes from the foundry and it's hot when it's made. So the cold rolled is on, so we've got the eaves beam, which is the piece at the bottom. That is the piece effectively the side cladding comes up to, the roof cladding sits on and sits over, and effectively it's your gutter area. And then you've got your Z purlins all the way up, and then every Z purlin is the width of the bay, and then you also put a sleeve on, so that will carry the strength from frame to frame. Everything has then got sag bars in it, and sagged back through to the eaves-beam to stop the eaves-beam bellying out. And we have the same system again. There's no sags in yet on the side rails, but we'll show you that when we come to fit them. So then once all the steel work is up like they've done, they'll get it all up. It all goes up fairly loose-ish, if you like. We tighten everything, we work our way around, tighten everything up, and then once everything up top is tight, we then come down and we line a level. So we put a string line effectively from one end of the building to the other, and we plumb and set the 2 corner stanchions of the building. If it's a particularly long run, you might do that again on a mid stanchion. and that line we make sure that all the stanchions are lined up. So for argument's sake, if there's any twist in the stanchion, the line may be like that, you can then take this twist out and you can bring everything up too, and then plumb everything up. So once you fully lined and levelled it, you know the better you get this job now, the easier life is going to be when you come to clad the building, because there's nothing worse than having anything out of plumb or anything sticking out that's going to put a bulge in your cladding or your flashing work. So spend quite a lot of time lining and levelling and getting this bit absolutely bang on. So once that's all done, then the next thing is for us is, like I say, next and handrail will get the roof on, but down here on the ground floor, through this strip footing and everywhere where there is a strip footing, we've obviously got all them little dwarf walls to put in now. So I need to give Bobby and Lenny a ring. The other thing on the ground floor that we've got to get done before Bobby and Lenny can come and put the block work in and the brickwork around the base is we've got to grout the stanchions in. So once the building is lined and levelled, we tighten everything down and then we have to grout it in. And grouting in means them big cones underneath need filling with effectively concrete or cement, and we also fill around the bottom of the stanchion. So when the foundations go in, obviously we take the levels and that's what we draw it to, that's what we make the steel to. Then when we come out, we do the final go round with a laser level, we set the site out and we packer it up. Now the reason we packer it is, one, to take any deviation in concrete levels between the foundations, so it's like a fine tuning of getting the heights exactly bang on. And two, it's also, if that was sat down on the concrete, the stanchion is sat like that, so there's no way it can move. What we need it to do to line and level it is we need something on it so effectively it can pivot and move if it needs to. So we obviously put this form of a packer on, which is a piece of steel ultimately. We sit the steelwork on it, the post on it, and that will allow us to tighten these nuts and ultimately move the stanchion where it needs to. It's only a little bit, but it's just enough to get it perfectly lined and levelled. Once we've done that, that steel packer and the cones and around it and everywhere underneath this stanchion base plate needs filling with cement. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can make almost like a little bund of sand around the edge, and you can make it wet so it pours out of a watering can, and you can sort of pour it in and let it fill and do its own thing. That's one way of doing it. Or the other way is you literally make it a little bit like mortar that a brickie would use, that sort of consistency, and you poke it in and you trowel it all up and you make sure everything's filled. Once that's gone in, you've then taken away any chance of, if somebody walloped this with a machine, at the moment, although everything's tight, there's still the tolerance on the bolts, so the bottom of the stanchion can still move out. Once you've grouted everything up, it can't move, it can't go anywhere because it's concreted in. The bolts are then fixed with that concrete round them, it can't move. And also, no matter what happens, nothing can sink in because you've also filled that underside of that base plate. So I'm going to have to love you guys and leave you. I need to get back in the workshop. If Andy finds out I'm skiving off to come around here and speak to you guys, he's going to go mad at me. If you like what you've seen, hit subscribe, ring the bell. We'll catch you next time, and I'll leave you guys with a big site montage.
Don't tell me what I gotta do, no. Understand that I'm the truth. I ain't really got a lot to lose. That's why I fuck with you. Now I'm not really one for attention. Shine a light through a prism full spectrum. Pull the curtains back, you're my dimension. Lay back and just forget the pressure. Always in my life, it's alright. See where I come from, people never make it out. I'm a 5-star brain in a 2-star town, and I'ma give it back when I have enough money in my hands, enough for the friends and the family.